Alright guys, Jeff with HKS Systems Lock and Safe, shooting it, since it's nice and easy for me, Locks NY style, on the road, live. So we already went to our first job this morning. It was about a 10-mile drive to get there, boring in traffic. Just literally adjusting a strike. His complaint was he put the key in, it turns, would not open the door, bound a latch, very common. Simple enough, just took that and adjusted it with a nice die grinder. So we're on our way to the next one. What do we got today? We've got about 5 stops today. My typical days between 3 and 5. I used to do 10, 12. That was when I was a young lad. I ain't so motivated anymore, or at least I don't need to be that motivated. I pick and choose. I'm 99% commercial, a little bit of residential mixed in here and there, but mostly commercial stuff. So my next stops are going to be go check keys in the door. What else do we got? Repair a car dealership door. We need to drop off some bills. We need to go rekey commercial place, and we need to duplicate on site some high security keys for one of my clients, and a couple other things, drop off some UPS, but that doesn't really pay me. It's just personal stuff. So we'll be back. Thanks. Wait to the next job, and typically that's why I don't like to book myself every hour on the hour. I like to give myself a little leeway. I usually give the 2-hour window for business, for the ability to schedule in oddball emergency things. And one of our big customers, the school district, just called, needs us to go over there, take a look at some doors, and one of them needs an automated door opener, which I did a video on that recently. So we're going to go over there, take a look at that, and we'll be back, and then we'll start the rest of the schedule, which is go check a lock in a couple doors just to make sure the keys are working well, and what else, drop us some keys off, repair some dealership locks, and pick up some locks. Actually, I forgot to say that. These are all like literally 30-minute jobs. They're all within 2 towns of each other. 90% of it's Crystal Lake, which is where I do pretty good majority of my work. Not all my work, but a lot of the work. Probably at least 75% of my work. Crystal Lake's a pretty big town out here. Got its name actually from supplying ice back in the day when there were true ice chests instead of refrigerators. They used to cut the lake, and it was super pure ice, I guess. So Crystal Lake, that's where it got its name from. So anyways, we'll be back. We'll be checking in throughout the day. Thanks. We're leaving the school. Just gotta look into that. Obviously I don't film in there. This is actually one of their learning disabilities sections of the school. So interesting thing, then I was meeting with the teacher. She discussed the problem. She's got some children, and a few of them are totally in different boats of life as far as abilities. So one, unfortunately, is the runner, and every time the door gets open, he runs out of the building and runs into the parking lot. And the other one can't open the door, so that's why I'm putting the automated door closer in, but she wants the ability to not let the other kid out. Well, that's a little bit beyond me. That's more of a problem with management than me. So I told her I can't really help you with that. It's not like we could just give him the ability to get out. Can't lock people in a room, unfortunately. That's not my gig. If you want to do that, call somebody else. But she was happy enough, so I'm going to get him a quote for the automated door opener, and we'll be back at the next location. Tested our keys, all 8 tested perfect, front door, back door for this location. That's the one we just put the new lever on. They were saying some people's keys weren't working. I'm like, yeah, probably because those keys are 10 years old, 15 years old, made at Ace, made at Home Depot, made at Menards, wherever the hell they were made at. Not my problem. My key works beautiful, front and existing lock and back. You want new keys? I'll bring you new keys. So that's what I was just checking. Just got a call from another customer, which is one of our better customers. They're a park district, but they have police also, a police section of it, and went there a couple months ago and quoted them for access systems in their building, and he came back and said, I'll supply them, and wanted to, I guess it's my fault. I'm too trustworthy. I gave him actually model numbers and pricing, and he said he'd buy them on Amazon. And I said, I'm not interested. So he wants me now to come over and figure out how to fix his lock, because he tried to install them himself and ripped all the wires out. Boo-hoo. I said, yeah, I'll fix them. He wants me to warranty them. I said, no, you need to go to Amazon for your warranty. So you want them fixed, you're buying new ones. We're going to, since we got a little time to kill before we get to the bank, we're going to actually go do a quick drive-by of Crystal Lake. This is the main town. Pretty neat old town. I actually live in Huntley, which is a couple towns away. Neat old town too. But Crystal Lake's pretty cool. So we're going to go down Main Street. Reminds me of Mayberry every time I go down there. Just old school. So this is it. They're very old. I know from 19 teens at least, most of them. So pretty old. You see the old Main Street here, and they're putting all the decorations out for Christmas. Pretty neat. Well, there's the Park District guy that I was discussing. Interesting. He's probably at the hardware store over there trying to find parts. So good luck with that, buddy. So yeah, here's the Main Street. We're going to duplicate some high security keys for the bank, which is the next street over. This is a one-way, obviously, so we had to cut through anyways to get to that side. But we'll be back. Yeah, we're going to just dropping off supplies for our customer, which is the school district. So I always like to take care of them. If you're just beginning locksmithing, school districts, government in general, some of the best accounts you'll probably ever get, if you can afford it. I know it's expensive to get into the trade and front money for them, but they're pretty much guaranteed. I've never had any issues with any of the schools. They always pay. Sometimes it's 60 days, sometimes it's 90 occasionally, but they always pay, so it's always good money. They don't really tire kick, and they always give you plenty of work, so I don't mind fronting money. I'm not a bank necessarily, but easy money. You just gotta wait for it. Be honest with them and be a good worker and supply them good quality stuff at a reasonable rate. You could still make profits. You don't have to roll them over to the coals. And I think one of the reasons I stay with these guys and they like me so much is because just that. All right, guys, back again. So we dropped off the hinges. We just got up to the next town, and we dropped off a bill for some work we had done last week. And we're heading to about 2 towns away to drop off a bill and keys. And while we're in that town, we're going to be repairing a knob set and deadbolt for residential. I don't typically do much residential. Not that I can't, it's super easy, but I don't do that much, to be honest with you. It's not a lot of profit in that, at least for me. I don't like to chase that. I'd rather do commercial, but it's good money. And one of the other locksmiths, yes, I'm friends with all the locksmiths in the area. We have a pretty tight knit up here. The best part is that we're all sort of specialists in what we do. One guy does a lot of automotive. One guy does a lot of lockouts for car and house and residence. So I give them all that because I don't like to do that. I'm the only guy that does safes, so they give me all that. One guy does cameras and access. I do a little bit of the access, but not really any cameras. So anyways, I'm friends with them all. The one, actually, his wife's having some medical issues, so he asked me to pick this one up for him. So I'm going to go do that. it's like I said, it's a small trade, and there's not a lot of us out there anymore. And at the end of the day, as long as you have enough money to pay your bills and have a good life, that's really all you should be striving for. You shouldn't try to be putting other people. I like the old saying of, don't build yourself up by pushing others down. I guess that's what the government sort of does to us all. But as far as being a good person, you should try to be the good person to everybody, and hopefully they'll reciprocate back to be a good person back to you. So anyways, we'll be back. I'm going through the countryside here. This is a pretty nice little road I like to take back whenever I get to cut through here. It's nice, and views are pretty. So we'll be back in a little bit. Thanks. This is the Old Town Square in Woodstock I'm in. I'm dropping a bill off, so I just thought I'd show this to you. If this looks familiar, it's because this was the backdrop of the movie with, what's his name? Bill Murray, Groundhog's Day. This was the town it was filmed in. They still play the shit out of that up here. It's the big deal for this town. Bill Murray, Groundhog's Day. It's a pretty funny movie. Dated, obviously. I think it was at the end of the 80s or 90s it was done, but pretty cool. But just a very old square. It actually is the old square there. You got all the buildings and stuff. Gazebo. And they do have little odds and ends, but these are all cobblestone streets. In pretty good condition, actually, for its age. And all the buildings are all original, old as shit. But pretty neat little town. So the old courthouse was up here. Used to be a jailhouse, and did a lot of work throughout there in the years when it was the jail. I used to do a lot of their safe stuff and repairs, but now it's, I don't know, arts and crafts and bullshit and the other stuff. Now, of course, everything's Starbucks. And the old opera house, I still do all their work there. It's a pretty neat old building, but old. And the bank, I do all their work too. That's the one job I was just at recently. So, and I left the square. I am definitely more of the modernist when it comes to houses, but the one in Woodstock up here, I always thought was very beautiful. Is this one here? I think it's a bed and breakfast now, but boy, what a beautiful house. Like I said, I'm not much of the historian type, but that is nice. So anyways, I'll catch up with you later. I'm going to the next job. We're still doing the review of the Woodstock historical sections. I always thought this road was cool. Being a locksmith, you definitely are always doing oddball stuff, finding oddball old buildings and oddball people for that matter. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting one. The old school tunnel. Barely fit my vehicle, and my vehicle's pretty tiny in there. It's only got like the 9-foot clearance. So for our next stop, we're going to go to the Emerson Lofts, which back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up to I think like the 80s, I believe. They used to actually have the Emerson Lofts, which they were the Emerson typewriter people. So sort of a cool thing. They took all of this old factory from Emerson Typewriter Company, and they did make other things, I understand. I don't really know much about it, but they took them, and they were basically out of business. Somebody bought them. They still have the old stacks there, and they turned them all into little condos, I guess, or townhouses. I'm not exactly sure what they are. At one time I was looking at them actually, but luckily I never bought into it because they were very expensive. Really cool though. The beams and stuff on the outside are actually all from the original plants, and then inside some of the places have the actual beams from the factory still in there. So really sort of rustic looking and neat, if industrial, if that's your thing. But this is pretty cool. A neat little area. Woodstock in general is pretty nice. It's an older farming community, but yeah, it's got some really old houses, and unfortunately, like a lot of towns, when you have older houses that are cheaper, you get sometimes the riffraff comes in. So some sections aren't so great, but it seems to be the catch-22 on this town. It's either nice old people that live there and have lived there for 50 years, or you get the young kids that move in and want to destroy everything. All right, guys, so last job of the day. What we got is a schleg. We have no keys for the front door. I guess I sold the house. I just want keys made. So we're going to take the deadbolt off the door, shimmed it open. If you don't know how to do that, you could probably YouTube that. I'm going to do a matrix. I have an original set of keys right here that I've had for like 30 years. All they are is basically labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. You want to pull that out, put the key in, decode it, code cut a key, and see if it works at the bottom. We'll be back. Okay, so we decoded it, 73,578. We're going to code cut that key on the HPC 1200, and we're going to give that a try in the... Okay, guys, we put the key in. Works like butter, literally. Watch this. You don't even need a finger. That's tight. My machines always are tight, so love that. So we're just going to duplicate one more and reinstall it. We'll be... All right, guys, we're back finishing up the day. It's the end of the day. I'm the early bird always. That's why I go home early typically. I always see Locks NY and other guys working in the dark. I don't work in the dark hardly ever. If I do, somebody's paying dearly for that. Not that I don't, but very rare. I'm usually the 7 a.m. I'm at the job, and I'm usually home by 3 p.m. Those are my set times. I'm the boss. I'm the owner, so I sort of set those. It seems to be nice for some people because typically people, or at least most of the world, is 9 to 5. So at least I could get stuff done for residential if I do residential. Get there early or get there before anybody else gets there. If I go do office stuff, then I could go there and be done before any of the crowd gets in. You know, 'cause sometimes we're using power tools, whatever, and electronic stuff, and chips are flying, and people are always nosy what's going on. So it's always nice to be done without a crowd gawking over your shoulder. So anyways, we'll be doing this quite a bit more. It seems to be like an easy thing. I always run out of ideas to do for videos, and doing the on-road stuff seems to be actually pretty fun. So I'll catch up with you next week. Thanks.